Hey guys, it's me, John Avenger, once again, and welcome to another Movies That Are Praised or Misunderstood month. Now, this is a movie that was praised back in 2009. It's considered one of the best films from that year. People called it the Star Wars of this franchise. There was something in the trailer that wasn't in the movie, which was probably cut for a deleted scene, but it's the 2009 reboot of Star Trek. Yeah, I finally got to see it, the 2009 reboot, because basically, the Star Trek movies had stopped after Nemesis, so that was the last one for a while. Was this movie a good movie? Yes, but I do have my issues with it, and you know why, but I'll get to that. But I thought the story was really interesting. It's an alternate universe, but I saw it more as a prequel or, like the events before the TV show. And it didn't bother me because I'm not a big Trekkie. Like, I'm more into Star Wars, but because the new Star Wars are in the crapper now, hey, I'd rather watch this. And I said again, I'd rather watch this again than Force Awakens any day or Rogue One, because Rogue One was boring and Force Awakens was just a fan service. It was fan service up the ass, and too many things like the original films. But this thing did its own thing. This movie did its own thing. It didn't copy the original series. I didn't see the original series. It didn't copy other things in other movies. That was an Into Darkness, which I need to see that next. But the good things, I like some of the cast. I like Zachary Quinto's a decent Spock. He's not going to replace Leonard Nimoy, but there was a cool scene with him and Leonard Nimoy. Rest in peace, sir. You'll always be the original Spock. And he says, live long and prosper. He says a lot of fan service, but it's not shoved down your throat. See, Abrams should have learned from that. Robert Orci and Alex Kurtzman knew how to write a script that was actually not just fan service every 5 minutes. It has fan service, but it has its own story and identity. That's what is missing in these Disney-fied Star Wars hybrids. But anyway, the special effects are really good. I like the CG of the spaceships and the battles and the freaking beaming and all the locations and the different planets and things. It's a really good looking movie. It is a really good looking movie. There's some good shots in there, wide shots, close up shots. The actors are, in focus. It's not like there's no shaky cam, thankfully. So that's good. I like, whatchamacallit, the action sequences are pretty well done. The rest of the cast, Chris Pine is fine as Kirk. I'm not going to compare him to Shatner because that's a different version of him. And he's the classic Kirk. This Kirk, it's fine. He's kind of a douche at first, but he's not the worst. Like, I can see him over Liam Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth, it was nice to see him in an early role as Kirk's father. That was cool because I love Thor and I love the Avengers. So good luck in Ragnarok, Chris, because I can't wait to see you in that. The film is fast paced. It doesn't like slow down for an hour, and it's only 2 hours. It didn't feel that long. It was actually pretty breezy, and most of the rest of the cast, like Anton Yelchin, rest in peace, I miss you. He was a good Chekhov. Bones was good. Carl Urban, John Cho was good. I liked Zoe Saldana surprisingly because I love Guardians, and this is before Guardians, so she was fine. She's got some moments in there. She's very sexy in the movie, and overall, it was an entertaining movie. It wasn't like it was 2.5 hours of nothing or been there, done that. Now, I do have my issues with it. One, I didn't like the lens flares. Abrams, like I said, this guy was the wrong choice for Star Trek because of one thing. Every time they're in space, there's lens flares hitting you in the eyes. I'm like, dude, I can't see the actors' faces when they're like beaming up or when they're fighting the freaking Romulans or when they're freaking on, traveling at warp speed. I can't see what's going on half the time. The lens flares are just too much. You got to stop with that. I don't need lens flares. That movie didn't have a single lens flare in it, or the first one, Guardians. And you got to you want to do your own thing. Don't put lens flares, please. Hopefully Beyond doesn't have any because Justin Lin is a different director. He doesn't use lens flares. But in this one, the lens flares bothered me. I told my friends that. I hate lens flares. If it's one, fine. But throughout the whole freaking movie, like they're in the bar and there's a lens flare when Kirk's fighting this guy, I'm like, you don't need it. It's blinding. It didn't work in Supergirl in season 2 at the end of season 2. The lens flares, get it out of my face, please. I'm sick and tired of lens flares. They're just blinding and it's distracting. Second, I didn't like the villain. Nero, played by Eric Bana, is overacting his ass off. It's ridiculous. He's like, Spock! And I'm like, oh, God. You suck as a villain. You know what he looks like? He looks like Tom Cruise if he was bald and had makeup on his face. Terrible villain. Had no good motivation. Oh, he killed Kirk's father. Whoop-de-freaking-do. You know, I didn't care about him. He's just as weak as Kylo Ren when they took his mask off. But I think this villain's worse because he's overacting. And he's just, is like, fire everything! And I'm like, you don't have to yell. Villains that yell are not intimidating. Look at Hans Gruber in freaking Die Hard. Look at Darth Vader in the original Star Wars. Look at the villains in the other Star Trek movies like Christopher Lloyd in Star Trek 3 or freaking Ricardo Montalban as Khan. They don't have to yell. I can hear. Fine. I'm not deaf. I can hear you. You don't have to yell everything in the movie. That's one thing I don't like about the movie. The third thing, J.J. Abrams as the director. If he was not the director, this movie would have been one of my favorites of that year, without a doubt. Because he casts people, so he always casts people that just, they cannot act. I'm sorry. The main cast is fine. I have no problem with the main cast. They serve their purpose. They're filling roles that were done years ago in the 60s all the way to the 90s. I'm fine with it. It's a new take. It's not like Man of Steel where I'm bored to death and they made the lead character a freaking dark and troubled. No, Kirk is troubled, but he's not frowning because, Chris Pine is having a good time. Yeah, he's kind of a douche in the beginning, but you learn to like him at the end. And him and Spock, they argue with each other. It didn't ruin the franchise. It didn't. It's not, oh, they hate each other. It's freaking, internal struggle and they have frustration. That happened in the Avengers, people. That movie, the Avengers are at each other's throats like about halfway through the movie, like from the beginning of the first hour and 20 minutes of the film. But then at the end they get together and it works. Here it worked. It was fine. I didn't hate it. It's not like, oh, screw this movie. It's nothing like the original show. I didn't see the original show. Maybe that helps. My Star Trek was The Next Generation in the 90s. That was my Star Trek growing up. But on its own, it's fine. I just don't like Abrams as a director. I've said it before, said it again. This guy ruined Star Wars with his freaking fan fiction characters and recycling the original movies and doing stuff that didn't make any sense and casting the worst freaking lead female I've seen since Kristen Stewart in Twilight. I'm going to say it right now. Yeah. I'll take Zoe Saldana any day because she's not lifeless. She's not a freaking chode. She's not trying to be tough, and she doesn't have superpowers. Thank you very much, Orsi and Kurtzman. I give you credit for that. You didn't make a horror. Yes, she falls in love with Spock. She's caring. She has a human heart. I'm fine with it. It doesn't ruin my childhood. But anyway, also the score, I thought it was decent. It had a mix of like the prequels Star Wars movies, like The Phantom Menace. It was a little bit of that, and then the third movie, like it goes, that was the score in Revenge of the Sith at the end. It kind of sounded like the score here when they're going into space, but it was fine. It's not like they recycled it. And the movie was overall entertaining. I like the film. I like the battles and the spaceships, and the Enterprise looks great in CG. It looks fantastic. It's a new take on it. It doesn't look like crap. Like I said, I even like the people that played. Jennifer Morrison played Kirk's mother, and I like her as an actress. You have Winona Ryder as Spock's mother. That was cool. I like her. I love her large, friendly eyes. I don't know why people hate her. I don't get it. But is it a good movie? Will I watch this again? Yes. But screw you, Abrams. I'm never going to ever give you the pass after Force Awakens because you should not recycle a movie. You did this with Into Darkness, and people didn't like it. This one did its own thing. That's why it worked. That's why it made money. That's why the critics loved it. That's why it got the praise. That's why it got the pass. That's why, it was a well-done movie. That's why people went to go see it in the theater. I didn't because I wasn't a Star Trek fan at the time. I was like, don't really care. I could wait for the next big thing. And I did. I got it right there. And this was before the MCU, like right after Iron Man came out. So I didn't have any big superhero movies at the time because we had X-Men Origins, Wolverine. Ugh, that was horrible. But it's a good movie. Is it worth my time? Yes. I'm glad I got it for $1. There's a commentary with Abrams, but I'm going to pretend it's not him. I'm going to just block him from my memory because I'm like, you can't shatter the pieces of my life anymore, Abrams, because you'll never get the Avengers, you'll never get Guardians, you'll never get any other franchises that are in space. Never, just never ever. Screw you. You're the problem with with this and with the new Star Wars. Not Rogue One, but still, that director sucked too. But it's a good movie. The lens flares I could do without, though. I want to see what's going on. I don't want to see and I'm like, am I going blind? That's why I didn't see Total Recall 2012 because it has lens flares. They bother me. I have perfect vision. I don't want to lose it because of a lens flare hitting me in the face every time they show the sun outside. It's not needed. You can do a movie. The movie looks fine the way it is without the damn lens flares. Even Helsing 920 that reviewed this movie a couple years ago, he said he could have done without the lens flares. Same here, dude. I'm right with you with that because no one wants to see a lens flare for more than once in a freaking movie, especially in a sci-fi movie, which is my favorite genre. It's my thing. That's why I enjoy Star Trek. I'm not in love with it. I'm not obsessed with learning Klingon or Vulcanese or whatever. No, I don't do that. But I do enjoy the films. I like the Next Generation show, and I will see the 60s show eventually because it's always running on MeTV. So, but it's a good movie for what it is. It did its own thing. It didn't copy the motion picture or First Contact or freaking. It didn't have the Klingons again, like in the second movie or the third movie, or et cetera, et cetera. But it did its own thing, and I appreciate it for that. But like I said, I'm glad Justin Lin took over the franchise with Beyond because his movie looks a lot better with the no lens flares. It really does, and that movie underperformed. I don't understand. I will see that in a review at some time this year if I could get my hands on it because I really want to get it because Into Darkness I could watch on cable. I don't need to buy it because it's going to be more lens flares and Abrams at the helm and Cumberbatch is Khan. Yeah, that's kind of weird, but he's a good actor, so he'll definitely be better than Eric Bana in this movie. He just was way over the top and just didn't do it for me. It's bald-headed Tom Cruise with alien makeup. Whoop-de freaking-do. But one other minor nitpick was that some of the characters are underused. Like Scotty doesn't appear in the movie until an hour into the film, and he's with this alien creature. Great makeup effects. I really like that. But they should have used him more. Bones could have been used more because I like Carl Urban. He's underused in the movie. And at least, thank God, this did not have an annoying British chick. The sequel does, and that's going to hurt. But I'm going to get through it. Because I can get through anything. After Rogue One and Jupiter Ascending and Episode 7 and freaking the trailers for Episode 8, which I'm not seeing. I saw a clip of it, and that was enough for me. And suffering through the Last Night trailer of Transformers, I can get through anything now. Because I'm like, yeah, I'm a man. I'm a rock. I can take it. But this is a good movie. It's good on its own. The people that hate it just are butthurt fanboys that like, it's nothing like the 60s show. It ruined my childhood. No, it didn't. Because I didn't have a childhood to ruin because Star Trek wasn't in my life that much. Just the Next Generation. And this didn't tarnish that. So thank you for that, studios. You did a good job. I give you credit for this. But the director can blow off. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'm glad I finally got to see this movie 8 years later. It's a fun movie. It has its moments. It's got some issues, like I said, but it doesn't destroy the movie for me. So anyway, thanks, guys, for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next review.